And like I said, I'm not going to take roll just yet because my power just came back on. I have a feeling probably quite a few people are struggling with that. So I wanted to talk about if you do have your book with you, you guys have your books. Yeah. Okay. So grab your book. I wanted to talk about a few things. And Paul, did you have your book yet or not quite? Still working on it?
Right. No, I have my book.
Sweet. Sweet. If you have your book, I want you to turn with me to page 8. So again, oops.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I messed up something right here. So if you turn with me to page 8, it talks about some really important things to do as far as when we're talking about the culture of higher education, things that are expected from you. When we ended the meeting last time, one of the things that students indicated is that they realize what are the key differences between high school and college. Well, college is going to require you to be a little more independent. And then, of course, the book is going to talk about the importance of interdependence as well. But then another big difference between high school and college is that there's a lot that's expected from you up front. Your professors are expecting a certain level of a lot of things on the front end, and you may or may not feel prepared for that. So one of the things they're talking about starting on page 8 are, that culture of higher education in college. How does that differ from high school? And these are all really important pieces of advice. So there's like one quiz question where it will ask you about a couple of these. So you might want to flag page 8. You can look at that video that's posted on Canvas for the actual quiz questions. But I wanted to go through in depth today a few things so that you know where stuff's located. Okay, we're not physically on campus right now, but I am going to probably upload a video of me like walking around and showing you where some of the offices are in case you don't know and need to know. But what I am going to do here, I'm going to share my screen. I want you to know where to go if you want to access the college catalog. So I'm going to go over here to a tab and let me just take you through the steps. What to study. So if we go to the Community Colleges of Spokane, let me just start from scratch here. So if I just go to scc.spokane.edu, our college's main page, okay? They've got all kinds of different links you can click on, and some of you may have already clicked on, okay? So they've got a tab that's for our students, and I was showing you guys that last time before we ended the class period. They've got mainly getting around campus, libraries, student life. We're going to look at the library in a minute. Student resources, if you are ready to transfer, which I don't think applies to anybody just yet. But we looked at the Getting Help tab, and the Getting Help tab shows you counseling, tutoring especially. So remember, later in the quarter, I'm going to offer extra credit for students who decide to take advantage of our tutoring. And then also, if you do need help on a personal level, the counseling center, and like I said, I'll do a video. It's in building 1 on the bottom floor, but you can call a number, you can email them, and they're pretty prompt. They'll get back to you pretty quickly, okay? What I want to focus on for today, so that's the Getting Help tab, okay? So you go to For Our Students and Getting Help, okay? They've also got Virtual Campus, Remote Resource Guide. This is pretty helpful if you're having trouble with stuff. How can you get extra equipment? If you need to do some printing, oh, that's no longer available. Sorry, they've changed that. But they've got, see how they have like counseling services is listed, building 1, building 6, health clinic, all of these things. So it's worth your time just to kind of scroll down and look at all of these items and see if there is anything that's of interest to you. I'm going to go back now though to what to study. So what to study, and that coincides with page 8 here. We want to look at our college catalogs and creating a long-term education plan. So if you're not sure what to study, you can search the areas of study. They also have an A to Z guide, okay? So if you scroll down, there's different categories. And I advise that you look at like some things that are of interest. I'm just going to go with culture, arts, and ideas as like an example, business, office, and professions or whatever. So you can browse this. I apologize, we got some background noise going on. Might have to relocate rooms in just a second here. But you can see where if you browse, you can look at some different areas that you might be interested in and click on them. And what they'll do is show you what that degree might look like as far as the classes you actually have to take. I'm going to choose art. Not that all of us are going to be going into art, but art area of study, it literally, and it's, you know, usually a fun degree. It goes towards degrees and certificates offered. And I'll show you a couple of examples here. So we'll do art, but we'll do one more as well. We may do like business or something. But it shows you the requirements worksheet. We're going to be doing this together as a class later in the quarter, and it's actually graded. You have to put together an education plan. And so you've got time to think. This is later in the quarter, but you might recall from the syllabus that there's a lot of points attached to developing an education plan for yourself, and I'll walk you through a lot of that. But it shows you, this looks kind of scary, but it shows you what types of classes you need to take, okay? So you have to have 5 credits of composition, 5 additional credits from the list below. So you look at these lists below and decide what courses you want to take. And in some cases, you might have choices, right? So for example, you got to have this many credits in social sciences, 15 credits of social sciences, 3 subject areas are required. You need 5 credits from group A, 5 from group B, 5 from group A or B. So that's usually like a class, one class, depending on if it has a lab, or 2 classes if it's more than that. But see how you have choices here, and you can look at descriptions and see which one you might be interested in from the catalog, etc. Okay, so let me go back. That's how you can look at different degrees. I'm going to close out of that one. Let's go back. Let's look at one more degree just so you can see what I'm doing here. Areas of study, you can just go A to Z. I'm going to go with B for business here, and let's look at what a business degree would be. So you've got business general, you've got business occupations, business administration, etc. So let's just go business general here for, again, students who maybe aren't very well decided. They've got associate degrees and certificates. And again, if you scroll down, oh my goodness, they've got a lot of different choices here, different emphases that you can choose, areas that you're interested in. But I'm just going to go with the top one here, the general one. It has a description, learning outcomes. And if you go further down, they've got their list laid out a little bit more precisely. You see how the art option had a lot of different choices. You can choose all these different things. If you need something that's more streamlined, they've got the exact list. These are the classes you need to take, okay? So again, I'm showing you how this works so that you can navigate, explore things that you are possibly interested in if you don't know your degree yet or what program you're in just yet, and then figure out, look at lists of classes and think about, okay, what would be the best fit for me? So I'm trying to help everybody take the wheel a little bit. In terms of your studies. Also, I do want us to look at that full college catalog in case you need to know how to get there. Hold on, I had that pulled up. Where did I go to get to that? Let me find, I'm just going to search right here, catalog. It's somewhere. I just had it earlier. So if you go to catalog and hit your search, it'll take you to the online catalog, and it should have the full thing right here. It's a lot of words, a lot of stuff. So don't let that kind of scare you, but look at what they've got. They've got it kind of broken down nicely to where you can click on certain areas of interest rather than looking at the entire thing all at once. If it's too much, you can click on this or this. If you've got some registration questions, paying for college, scholarships, whatever, you can click on any of these to get a little bit of help with that. Also, the campus map. So if I say that counseling is located in building 1, you kind of know where to go with that. Does anybody have questions on this part? Kind of know how to navigate and find stuff online remotely? Okay. So if you look at your list on page 8, that kind of covers, 1, looking at your college catalog. I'm not going to make you read it, but you know where it is at least. Number 2, creating a long-term educational plan. You don't have to do that today, but later in the course, you are going to select one of those that I was showing you, like art or business or whatever. You're going to go down the list and pick whatever fits you, and you are going to look at the classes that they require and make a map of what quarters you're planning to take, what things, what classes, okay? Number 3, the general education requirements. Those are classes such as English and math that are required no matter what. Whatever degree you take, you're going to have to take some type of English or writing class. Sometimes they let you take technical writing instead, depending on what your program is, but there'll be some kind of math and some kind of English. Number 4, I'm on page 9 now. completing your prerequisites and co-requisites. So those are things that are just required before you get into another program. Number 5, choosing a major. So again, we're gonna go through a process here of looking at surveys, your personality tests, and then also browsing the catalog to see things that you might be interested in so that you can choose a major. Number 6, this is an important one. Meeting with your instructors during their office hours. How many of you have already met with an instructor before during office hours? Okay, Austin has one. Okay, Alexandra maybe. Okay, a couple of people maybe have. This is really important. This will be required at some point in the course. So about midterms week, I usually require that you do an individual meeting time with me for 15 minutes. So we can do it through Zoom, or you can either meet on campus with me at my office, whatever works for you. I'll offer the 2 options. And 15 minutes is all we need. And we're going to talk about what your goals are, where you think you're headed. We're going to browse that catalog together and kind of get you started on your educational plan. And it counts as meeting with me during my office hours, okay? I advise students especially, make sure you meet with your math instructors during office hours. If you're struggling with something, go ahead and let that math instructor know ahead of time that you're struggling and help them to put a name with a face as well. Number 7, knowing the importance of your grade point average or GPA. Many students think, well, as long as I pass, what else matters? In some cases, just getting a pass is enough. In other cases, such as nursing, for example, in nursing, you have to keep an 80 or higher, usually a B or better. And to get accepted on the front end to start with, they're going to look at your grades. So if there's a lot of people applying and trying to get into the nursing program, and they already know in order to make it as a nurse, you got to keep a B or better, they're going to look at your previous classes. And if they see a lot of grades that are lower than a B, or if they see that your GPA is a 2.0 only, they're gonna be like, well, if they only have a 2.0 coming into it, how are they gonna succeed once they get here, type of thing. So keeping your grades high. I'm on page 10 now, knowing how to compute your GPA. This one, it's done for you, but basically, and it's a little more complicated here. They used to, where I've taught in the past, a 4.0 was an A, a 3.0 was a B, a 2.0 was a C, etc. They've kind of got it broken down to like an A plus, an A minus, 3.9, 3.8, or whatever. And so there should be, let me double check here, little chart on the syllabus. There we go. Let me show you our course syllabus. I'm going to go into screen share and show you the chart, how it's laid out. This is a rough range, like a 97 to 100 equals a 4.0, 96 equals 3.9, etc. This is for our department. It is a little bit different for different departments. So make a note of yourself there, or make a note to yourself there. Most instructors will have it on the syllabus, what the breakdown is. I'm a little more kind with my English classes. My English classes are pretty tough. I mean, there's just a lot of reading and writing involved. So I'm pretty kind with my English classes. And if it's a 95 or higher, I'll award a 4.0. And then I do everything else based on the scale after. But that kind of gives you an idea of what you need to get. So here, 80 is a 3.0. If you're trying to get into nursing, that's your target mark, right? Or to try to aim a little higher than that if you can. Of how to transfer like points in class. If you're currently ranging at an 89 or a 90, this is what you're looking at for your GPA, etc. Okay. Number 9 and number 10. I'm going to talk about both of these together. And I would say this is one of the most important pieces of advice that's in chapter 1. If you are not doing well in a class, I've seen this from 11 years of experience, and also myself. So I failed a class in college. I'll tell you that story in a minute. If you are not doing well in a class, rather than taking an F, you can discuss with your instructor the possibility of withdrawing from the course and retaking it next quarter. Okay, that's an option. It's not an automatic option though. So if you're failing and you just don't communicate, don't say anything to anyone, don't talk to the instructor, it will be an F, right? And then it's going to affect your GPA. However, if you're not doing so well in that math class and you talk to the instructor, so that's what they're telling you on number 10 there, talk to the instructor and say, what do you think my chances are of passing this class? Is there some hope for extra credit that I can pass or not? The instructor will typically give you the advice. Yes, I feel like, you're at a 68 right now or at a 58, but a couple more points. I'm going to have some extra credit next week. If you do that, you can pull it up. Or if the instructor says, look, you're looking at a 38 right now, it's just not good. I think maybe we should start over, try next quarter. Maybe we'll sign you up for this other math class first and then put you back into this class. So always talk to your instructor and know that you must officially withdraw from a class. And that involves contacting the registrar's office. And I can talk to you about how to do that if you need to. That can be done in order to avoid an F if you're really truly struggling with something, or if you run into COVID stuff or whatever. Did you have a question, Alexandra, about that one?
Yeah, I was just curious, say that I did want to do that because I am in the nursing program. Would that affect my financial aid in the sense of dropping a class? I just don't know how that works.
Very good question. And listen up, everybody. That might be relevant to everyone else. Yes, it can. So the rules are, to be considered full-time for financial aid, you have to have 12 credits or more. Okay. Most of the time, your advisor is going to tell you to sign up for like 15 or 16 credits because it gives you some wiggle room, right? If you're signed up for 15 or 16 credits and you need to drop one, you're still going to be okay, right? In terms of keeping that 12 credit limit or max minimum. It's a minimum, 12 credit minimum to be eligible for financial aid. If you need to just drop like 3 classes though, you do need to be aware it could affect your financial aid moving forward. So it's not, I appreciate you bringing up that point, Alexandra. It's not meant as just an easy way out for you to just like not be studying, not working. Oh yeah, I'm just going to withdraw from all my classes at the end of the quarter. It's not considered an easy way out. It is there if you run into a crisis, or it's there if you just flat out are struggling really badly with math. Rather than failing it, talk to the teacher. And if the teacher says, yeah, I think you need to just sign up and take it one more time, withdraw from it so that you don't get an F that's going to affect the GPA, right? Your GPA, if you take an F, which is a 0, it's going to lower your GPA. If you talk to that math instructor, withdraw from the class, and as Alexandra pointed out, maybe double check with the financial aid office as well, right? It gives you the ability to take that math class a second time, while in the meantime, not killing your GPA score, right? Okay. So it's not meant to be something that's just an easy way out for everything. And again, it's also an option if you're truly dealing with a crisis, and our professors are prepared to help you if it's COVID related or family related. I'm hearing that like more and more grades are getting to go back to school now. So anytime now we should be able to put our kids back in school, etc. But that's there to help you. There's also an option of a Z grade. Those are only in rare instances as well. But again, if you talk to the instructor, what I'm saying is you can typically not just accept that F that's going to wreck your GPA. They can try to help you with, let's do a withdrawal, let's do something different that won't absolutely affect you. I want to tell a quick story as we move on, and I will be short with it, but I failed a Greek history class in college. And I failed it because of irresponsibility on my part. And I was struggling financially, so I didn't buy the book. And rather than talking to my instructor about that, I just kind of tried to skim along. And this was a very tough class. He had quizzes that were worth a ton of points in our class, and they were all based on the book. And so I was failing quizzes. I also just kind of gave up and quit showing up to class in person, or at least on time. Sometimes I'd show up like once a week, even though it was a twice a week class or whatever, because I was feeling discouraged. I never talked to the professor about it. I finally realized, like, man, I'm in deep trouble here. My grade's pretty bad. And so I went to talk to him about the possibility from withdrawing from the course. But guess what? The deadline had already passed. So I talked to him. I also talked to the registrar's office, financial aid, etc. They said, sorry, our deadline for the withdrawal has already passed. Okay. So again, I can't emphasize enough. I ended up failing that class, and so it lowered my GPA. It affected my financial aid, etc. Talk with your instructor. Take advantage of those office hours and do it ahead of time. Okay, if you know you're struggling or you failed a test or not doing so well in something, do it ahead of time. Or if you're struggling with a crisis or whatever, so that you don't end up in that situation. Okay. Next, know your lifetime eligibility for financial aid. I'm looking at number 11 here, which is on page 11. you've got limits. So how much you can have for your financial aid, how much you can receive, they'd calculate that. And when you enrolled here, they should have had a calculation worksheet that they went through with you and kind of showed you, here's how much total you're eligible for. The other thing that I tell students that's very important is there are year limits on it. So it used to be 6 years. Now I think it's 5 years. You don't want to keep changing your major, changing your major, changing your major. Hold on, sweetie. Changing your major so many times that you end up sticking around at Spokane Community College for 5 years and running out of money and never getting a degree. I have seen it happen numerous times. I've seen it happen where students just really don't have a sense of direction. They are getting that financial aid, so it's great. They're so like, sure, I'm just going to switch. I'm going to take some business classes. No, I don't like business. Let me switch and take this other field, art. Okay. No, I don't like art either. Let me take agriculture. And they keep switching around so many times that they end up, once they finally do figure out what they want, running out of money at the end of 5 years. So don't let that be you. And with that said, it's okay if you realize a year or so into it that you need to change your major. We just don't want you to change your major 5 or 6 times and run out of money. Okay. So that's why we require this class. And then lastly, keep a record of important documents. So maybe have some kind of little cabinet somewhere or whatever is considered, slide it under the mattress, whatever works for you, but keep some of those important in a folder under the mattress. But keep some of those handy documents that you need, such as proof of income or whatever, keep those handy. Okay. Any questions about those before I move on? And again, this is kind of like important resources to know about in the college setting. So let's move forward. They've got a little discussion on page 13 about some of the key differences between your most recent educational experience, such as high school versus college. We kind of talked a little bit about that already last week, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Okay. Page 14 here, I do recommend that students read the student stories that are presented. And you may have noticed for the discussion board for this week that I had a recommendation for you to read this one. So at the bottom of page 14, we have one student story, Kenesha George from San Juan College in New Mexico. And she was asked to answer a question about what are your goals? And her honest answer was that she just didn't have any. And so you'll notice that for our discussion board this week, I'll go over to it in just a minute here. You're asked to write 10 things, any 10 things that you want to do, see, make, have, achieve, etc. in your lifetime, just so that you have some kind of goals. They don't have to be related to education, but it's good to have just an idea of a few things that you want in life whenever you embark on your education. Page 16, if you'll move to page 16 with me. And this is probably the last item that we'll focus on today. 8 key expectations from your professors. These are important, and there is a quiz question related to these, okay? So number 1, educators expect students to be responsible for their education. And this one is pretty accurate. I think in general, from having worked with a lot of different professors, we do expect a high level of responsibility. Here's the assignment. I'm giving you the instructions. Here's some resources that are there for you on Canvas. You need to take the responsibility. Here's the due date. So you need to work on it. And then if you have questions, it's your responsibility to then ask the instructor or seek out tutoring from the tutoring labs, etc. Okay. So number 2, educators expect students to be highly motivated to succeed. I think that's maybe, I kind of disagree with that one a little bit. I think that we know, as teachers, we know that many times students will start out the first 2 weeks with a high level of motivation, and then by midterms, they're burned out, right? I think many good teachers, we know that. And so we do expect you to have some motivation. We understand, though, whenever that kind of wears out after a certain point. But at any rate, we still expect students to take that responsibility. So number 3, educators expect students to attend class regularly and complete all assignments to the best of their ability. Yes, that is a college expectation. When we see students who aren't showing up, aren't participating, aren't even logging into Canvas, aren't putting in much time at all on their assignments, and that's noticeable, that's usually when we have failures. So as an English teacher, which is typically a hard class, I always love to give A's and B's if I can, but I've never been able to have a perfect semester where I didn't have to hit the fail button on a student, or 2 or 5 in some cases. I will say this though, no matter how much a student struggles with writing, we can overcome it if the student is coming to class regularly or logging in regularly on Canvas, okay, or visiting with me as needed. It's when the student is not attending school, not participating, not logging into Canvas, and also just waiting until the night before to work on an assignment and throwing together something that's very sloppy work. That's when we end up having to make the decision for failure. Not that I'm just giving out grades, but that's the grade that the student earned, right? So I would have to say I've had to fail students many times in 11 years. 95% of the time, literally like more than 9 times out of 10, like 9.5 times out of 10. The reason for a student's failure is lack of attendance and lack of completing the work. And that's that simple. And then typically, though, I've worked with many students who struggle, but as long as you come and you talk to your professor and you work on it, many students can pass. So, okay, number 4, educators expect students to collaborate with peers and make use of available help. Yes. I don't know that we expect you to collaborate with your peers so much. We encourage it whenever we're in our live classrooms or our on-ground classrooms, but we do expect you to utilize some of the available help that's out there. We do expect you to sign up at the tutoring center if you're struggling with something, or to reach out to us if you're struggling with something. Okay. Number 18, educators expect page 18 expect students to change what they are doing. Excuse me. Educators expect students to change when what they are doing is not working. So if you're trying one approach, we expect you to then try another approach. I disagree with this one. I think many educators know that you were maybe taught one way to do something in high school, and that's going to be your natural go-to. And so learning different approaches to different things is kind of part of that journey of college. Number 6, educators expect students to demonstrate a passion for learning. I would disagree with that one as well. I know my students are not excited about English class. They're definitely not as excited about it as I am. And that's okay. I know that it's there that we have to take those classes just because they're required. Number 7, educators expect students to manage their emotions as well as the emotions of others in the service of their goals. I would say, to sum this one up, I agree to some point with it. We basically expect you to be respectful. Even if you're having a really bad day, we expect you to be respectful of others in the midst of different things that we all might be going through. And then lastly, educators expect students to have realistic self-confidence about themselves and their abilities to succeed. I would say yes. As an English teacher, I realized that low self-confidence is usually pretty common, unfortunately, because of a prior experience that a student may have had with a teacher early in their life. I would say probably 50% of students have had a negative encounter with an English teacher or professor at some point in their life. So I don't go into it expecting students to already have super high confidence, but we want you to get there by the time you leave. Does anybody have questions about those expectations that your professors probably have of you? Questions on those? Not really. Okay. So with that, it is 10:02. I want to bring your attention to a couple things, and then I'm going to open the floor and call on a few of you to share. Page 25 in your book. I'll hold it up in front of my camera. Page 25 in your book. This is the self-assessment that you also have on Canvas. So let me remind everybody while I'm on the call here what we have required on Canvas for this week. Hold on, my cursor's not wanting to let me go over here. There it goes. Okay, so on Canvas, remember, this is under helpful Zoom videos on the home page. This is going to help you with the quiz. So scroll down, helpful Zoom videos, far down at the bottom. there's an overview of chapter 1, okay? And that's going to have a little video, helps you prepare for the quiz. Let me show you the quiz. There it is. So we had our syllabus quiz last week, bonus. Now we've got the chapter 2 or the week 2, chapter 1 quiz. Note that when you click on it, it says, please read before you start. You only get one attempt and it's 30 minutes. So you have 30 minutes once you start. So you want to have that book in front of you, or if you don't have a book yet, you want to have watched that video and made a few notes first before you start the quiz. It is graded. It's not bonus. So you want to try to do as best as you can on that. Over on the discussions, we'll come here in just a second. We have 10 things I want to do, see, make, or achieve. That is required, and it's due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. Lastly, the self-assessment that's on page 25 of the book, we have that here. Find it here for us. Under our required surveys, career plans, etc. So right next to your quiz, we've got a self-assessment. I showed everyone this on Monday, but I want to show you again. We're going to read the following statements. You're going to give it a rating, 1 through 10. So for example, I control how successful I will be. I'm not sure why I'm in college. Give that statement a rating of what you feel is it true or is it false or is it kind of sort of in the middle, okay? And you'll give it a rating 1 to 10. You can download and then handwrite your answers for your numbers here out beside each statement, or you can download and then type the number beside each statement. So just type like a 7 or a 5 or whatever out beside the statement. Once you've downloaded it, you're going to go back and submit it. And the submission box is right underneath the file. So if you scroll down, you've got required surveys, career plans, quizzes, etc. You've got your quiz right here, the file you need to take the self-assessment, and then the folder you need in order to submit it, okay? So remember, those are the items that are due. We have a chapter quiz, we have a discussion board, and then we have this weekly the weekly discussion board, but then we have the self-assessment, okay? I'm gonna move over to the discussion. Hold on a second here. It's being a little funny with me. And then I'm gonna open the floor for questions. Questions on anything that's due, speak up. No questions? I want to hear on some of these 10 things. So even if you haven't submitted this yet, I'm going to call on a couple of people. And I would like to hear, who is Galaxy Note 9?
Ruth.
Ruth.
Hi.
What are a couple of those 10 things for you?
Oh, I want to go and hike the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania. I always thought that I heard it's very beautiful. And I've mostly spent my whole life around Washington, Oregon, and Idaho.
Okay. So something different.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Sa, can you share?
Yes. So 10 things I want to see or make in the next 10 years. Maybe happiness, meet a new friends, build my house, start families. Wait, I forgot. Start family and then healthy, peaceful place, and then financial stability, and oh my God, 3 things.
That's good. That's good. That's enough. That's good. Okay, thank you for sharing. Juan. Juan, are you able to hear me? Okay. Ken, I think I called on Ken last time. Did you want to, Ken May? I think I maybe called on you last time.
Already called me
But could you share a couple more?
Okay. I say get a degree, travel around the world, and I like to speak multiple language. So when I travel around the world, I can understand, and get a career that I love, and have a family later on. And I want to try the skydiving. I
Okay.
high, yeah, yeah, because I like travel around the world. So like, I want to try skydiving while at it.
It's okay. I've done it. It's over with really quickly. It happens
Really?
fast. So they always have
How long
commercial
is it?
breaks whenever they show you skydiving on TV, and it makes it
Mhm.
last longer. It's literally over with in like a minute. And so you're like, I paid $325 to do it. And I'm like, I paid $325 and it was over like that. Like, okay, so it's all right. But I would recommend other things too. So everybody, if you want to, you should go skydiving at least once in your life. But there are other better things. I think whitewater rafting is actually a really cool one. To me, whitewater rafting is worth, usually you can do that for like $100 and you can do it for 3 or 4 hours. It's pretty cool. And you get to see
And
like,
they're toured and everything. They're so much fun. That's
yeah,
so much
yeah.
fun.
So having had quite a few experiences, my personal recommendation is the not skydiving, is the whitewater rafting. Also, parasailing. Parasailing is pretty cool. But yeah, skydiving, if it's something you want to do, definitely try it out. Do it while you're young. You can do it at any age, but let's see. JD, can you share JD?
Yeah, I would really like to learn Japanese and visit Kyoto for the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Awesome. Very specific. Have you just always had an interest?
Yeah, I've always really liked the language.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Kylie.
So my boyfriend and I just bought some land and we have a lot of cleaning up to do on the acres that we have, and then we're gonna start building our house. So I'd like to kickstart that here pretty soon.
Awesome. Lexi.
Yeah, I did fill out my 10 things, and one of the things that I really want to do is go cage diving.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, or snorkeling or something involving water.
And sharks and stuff like that. Okay, that's pretty
Yes.
intense. I've never done it, but that's a good one. Do you have any ideas of where?
Not really.
Okay.
I wanted to start like I honestly have no idea.
Florida, Hawaii, or just anywhere.
I think Hawaii would be really beautiful, but
Yeah.
I'm not too picky where to start.
Okay, just some kind of cage dive. That's pretty cool, or snorkeling. Clarissa?
I really want to learn how to cook good.
Okay.
Yeah.
What types of foods do you like to eat?
Well, I really like the main thing that I want to learn how to make right now is mac and cheese because I've never had a good macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
I really want to learn how to make that one right now.
Okay. Very cool. There's all kinds of different ways and styles. I'm not gonna go into. I've got mine. I think it's good, but yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Let me hear from Paul.
I really want to see a killer whale someday.
Ooh, very cool. Very cool. Austin.
My main goal that I'm looking for right now and like is doing is just to be able to get my grades up enough so that I can get into the physical therapy program.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeping that high GPA. Alexandra.
I'm in the same boat as Austin, but I just want to be in the nursing program. So keeping grades up. I want to buy a sports car for sure in the next 10 years. I don't know, family oriented. So building maybe a bank account and stuff for Kyler, my baby.
Okay.
Or stuff like that.
What kind of sports car?
Oof. I don't know.
You were
My
through that
mom
one,
just
huh?
bought a Porsche Panamera, so I'm pretty intimidated by that thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay.
We got to compete with the mom.
Okay. Awesome. Guys, whatever you put on your list, okay? I've never seen a killer whale. That's a good one, Paul. Like, just whatever it is that you put on your list, keep that thing handy even after this class is over with. College, hopefully, will help you get there. How will it help you get there? It'll help you get into a career that makes you happy, helps you make some money to try to get to, you know, what you want to get to and what you'd like to do, right? Get into a job that you're going to enjoy and be able to continue in order to pay bills and also seek out some better things for the future, okay? I'll let us go. Stick around on the call if you have any questions. Remember, 3 things due by Sunday: the quiz, the self-assessment, and the discussion board, okay? And many of you, I've already got quite a few responses on here. I'm not going to click on them here, but it looks like I've got 14 people who have responded total. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and look at this and add your 10 things by Sunday night. Have a good day, guys. Stick around on the call if you've got any questions, okay?
Thank you.
I have a question, Ms. Wilson.
Yeah.
It's not about this class. I'm actually in your English 101 class.
Yeah.
I have a few, I just have a question. I'm confused on what we're supposed to do this week.
Okay, so for English, I'm a little bit behind on, and I'm probably going to address the class sometime later today. I had hoped for us to do a peer review, and honestly, we've still just got some more work to do. So you're supposed to do two more paragraphs on that scholarship essay plus a peer review. I'm probably just going to send an email out to the class and say, look, just focus on the essay for this week only, and we'll do the peer review groups thing next week. Okay. Is that the part you were confused about? Like, what group am I in? I don't see my group. Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm trying to give everybody just a couple comments from me. So I'm going through and giving them some teacher comments. And then I think it's going to be just easier for us to do the peer review part next week.
Okay.
And
okay, thank you.
Yeah, one more thing. Did you see the email I sent about a couple people asked questions about the book? So Friday Night Lights or War Child. You saw the email where I was like, hey, it's War Child that we're going to be reading or whatever.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Let me know. Because that one, we don't have these little sessions to kind of talk on. So I think people would be more lost.
Confused. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, it's a good thing that I have her for both classes. So I'm gonna ask.
Okay. I'll send an email out because if you're wondering, probably others are as well. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Hi. So I have this class. It's Larry Brunt is my professor. But I did late enrollment submissions for every single class that I'm in. And all of them got submitted to the dean. And then 3 of them have came back and they're all in my Canvas. But the English one has not. And it got denied like 3 times. And I can't figure out why. And I've emailed my professor and I've been in contact with him. I've been in the classes and stuff on Zoom. But I just don't know what to do about that. Like, I want to be in 4 classes because I'm not working and stuff.
So ASAP, this is week 2. So there is still a little tiny window of time right now to get into a class, but it has to be with instructor permission and also the dean, etc.
Right, which I have done both.
Class or is it an online class?
It's an online class. I meet with him every morning. I've been doing it all. I just haven't.
You're not enrolled.
So he has contacted me after my late enrollment because it says my email. So he's been sending me all my assignments on my personal email, and it's just not in Canvas. But he has submitted it to the dean,